Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we are going to talk about what happens when the boss shows up, or the inspector, and how that should inform our thinking about something. Because there's a common trend in the United States, and it's pretty telling when it comes to our expectations and how we confuse things at times. Okay, so you're on the job site, you're at a construction site, whatever, and OSHA shows up. Is that a productive day? Is the productivity that day the same as when OSHA isn't there? No, of course not, because everybody's running around looking for the safety equipment they never actually use, right? Or they're afraid to do what they would normally do because it's more than 3 feet off the ground. What about a health inspector at a restaurant? Same thing, right? Productivity slows down. So much so that at least around here, the health inspectors actually try to time their visits for the slow periods, so they don't disrupt business as much. I'm sure it's true with white-collar jobs as well. The big boss comes in and everybody is more interested in catering to that person than they are doing their own jobs, right? Do y'all think that Mayor Pete actually knows how to clean up that mess from that train? No, of course not, because that's not his job. That's not what he's there for, right? Same way that the OSHA inspector can probably not do the jobs of the people who got slowed down. Same way the health inspector doesn't know how to cook that dish. It's not their job. But for whatever reason, people in the United States have begun to confuse a photo op with actual leadership, to the point that people get mad when a politician doesn't show up for a photo op, even though the photo op is really it's just political campaigning. It doesn't actually help. In fact, it slows things down. This isn't just about the train. We've seen this before. You had Republicans saying that Biden needed to go down there and visit the border. To do what? If the people in charge of securing the border down there, if they need the President of the United States to show up and pick up a pair of field glasses, they're probably not very good at their job. It's one of the few things that I defended Trump on, because he didn't show up. Never. That wasn't a thing. Eventually he would, show up to an impacted area and, throw paper towels at people or whatever. But I defended him on it after, I think it was Michael. These people he didn't come down. He shouldn't. When you're talking about elected leaders at that level, when they show up, what happens? They need security, right? Those cops, the EMS, the fire trucks, the helicopters, those are super in need after a disaster. You don't want to waste the resources for a photo op. And I've talked about this before, but one of the things that's really important to remember is that the standard for Americans and what they expect as far as actual leadership when it comes to our elected officials has fallen to the point where we get mad if they don't show up for a photo op that they're going to use in a campaign ad later. That's the extent of what we're expecting. Or we've been so conditioned to believe that actually is leadership, that's helping. It's not. It's not. Their job is in an office somewhere. They're not supposed to be there standing around, slowing things down. And we've seen this happen. We've seen governors do tours of impacted areas and slow down relief efforts. It occurs. But if they didn't show up, you'd have people complaining that they didn't show up, because we've grown so accustomed to the photo op. It shows how little Americans actually expect of their leadership, of the people in government. They don't actually want a solution. They want them to show up and stand around, put on some high visibility clothes and carry a shovel or something. That's not actually helping. And when people start to confuse the two, we end up in a situation where they're running around doing photo ops and they're not doing their job. Their actual job should be to make sure it doesn't happen again, not stand there and pretend like they're fixing the soil. And this is an issue, one of the few issues you can honestly say this is on both sides of the aisle. Politicians, elected leaders, people with political designs showing up after some emergency, not only is it not leadership, it's not helpful, because it diverts resources from where they actually need to be. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.